What's up everybody, it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to show you how to mount a Burton EST binding to the channel board. Let's check this out. All right, so the EST system is pretty awesome. Basically, Burton was able to bring back baseless bindings. This was something that existed a long time ago where you actually stood right on top of the board, and it was awesome. It felt great, it rode great, it didn't stiffen up the flex of your board under your feet, and you could feel everything, but it really didn't have good adjustment. The adjustability on it was very minimal, especially with your angles and your widths and everything. But with the channel system, Burton was able to bring that back, and it's also a very easy system to mount and to adjust. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you even unshrink the board is locate these inserts. They're in a little pack that's stuck to the bottom of the board, and it's inside the shrink wrap. The reason I say to do this before is a lot of people get super excited, they grab their board, they start peeling the shrink wrap off, they accidentally pop that insert pack off, and then they throw it away. You need these inserts. So again, locate those before. So once you have those, basically you're gonna set those next to your insert. Then you're gonna take your screwdriver, and there's this little plug, and it's just held in with pressure, so you can pry that out very easily with the screwdriver. And then once you have that out, you're basically gonna take two inserts, put them in each channel, and then you're gonna go ahead and just smush that plug right back in. So just in case you take your bindings out, the inserts aren't gonna fall out of the board. Everything that's on the board, that's printed on the board, goes right along with what's inside the binding. And Burton really thought about absolutely every last bit. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna move our straps out of the way. Now you'll notice on the bottom that there actually is this little piece that sticks out of the binding. It's not sitting flush on the foot pad. So that actually goes inside the channel. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna move the inserts out a little bit, and then you're gonna wanna set the binding so that piece goes right inside the channel before you put the screws down. Now the reason we do this is that that piece actually stays put when you move the binding, and these three windows inside the binding tell you your angles, your centering, and it tells you your stance width. So when you look at that reference point on the board, you can actually see that this one has a reference stance of 22 inches. So that's pretty much my stance. Again, 22, 23, somewhere in there. Usually I probably go 22 and a half. So the cool thing is that first window, there's an arrow that points at the arrow on the board that says ref. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go ahead and set one of the inserts in one of these outer channels, and then we're gonna slide the binding over, and we're gonna set the outside, we're gonna set the insert inside the outside one, and then we're gonna go ahead and make sure that that middle white piece is down inside the channel. So now what we can do is move it to the reference point, and I know that that's 22 inches. So if you're at 22 inches, cool. But me, let's say I wanna go 23 inches. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna move this binding out a ½ inch right to the next line, and I'm gonna move the back binding a ½ inch to that next line. And then I know that that's 23 inches. So the really cool thing is when you know that reference stance and you look at that, as long as you know what your stance width is, it's super easy to figure that out. You don't even need a tape measure. Now the next thing is, the next window is your centering. The red inside is centered. Then you can actually move it forward. Let's say you got a binding and you're on the smaller side. Let's say you got a 10 or a 10 and a half, and you're in a large binding. Well, that's at the smaller side, so we know to center your foot up and make sure that your toes and heels are hanging off the same. We're gonna need to slide that forward. If we've got a 13 or a 14 or a bigger foot, we know that we're gonna have to slide that all the way back. But again, that red inside there, that actually means that it is centered on the board, and then you can adjust accordingly. Now the last one, you can see that there's a line going kind of toe to heel in that last window, and that's your angle. So then you can literally adjust your angle. I want 15, so I'm gonna adjust this to 15. I'm also gonna move it basically just a little bit forward of center for my boots, and then I'm gonna leave it at that 22. Now I know that my binding is in the perfect spot. You do the exact same thing with your back binding, get the angle set, make sure that it's centered up the same, make sure that you've got it at the width that you want. So then once you get that all set, now we're gonna actually take these screws, and they have these washers with these little tabs on them. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure that tab goes kind of into the channel of the binding there. And the reason for that is that we actually have teeth on this washer, and there's teeth on the edge of the little track on the side of the EST binding, and those are gonna lock together too. So everything locks together once you get it all, you know, nice and snug. So again, just like with the regular inserts, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get those things started nice and easy. Once they're both started, tighten them up a little bit, and then when we get to the end of where it feels like it's, you know, pretty snug, just with kind of like a loose grip, we're gonna give it that tight grip, give it one last little crank, and again, make sure that those things are nice and snug, and then you can feel the binding is not moving. All right, so hopefully that helped out a little bit, and as you can see, the channel system is amazing, and you can mount regular bindings and EST bindings, but the EST bindings will only mount on boards with the channel. But if you got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure it's going to fit you, it's going to fit your riding style, and you can use it properly and get it set up properly too. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a new board with the channel, get your bindings mounted up, and get out and ride. So any day riding is a good day of riding.